So artillery is then the shorter than Haubitzen.
Yes,
But it's
yes.
still also the same idea, right? It's
The same idea, but not the same length of the distance from enemies. The howitzer have the opportunity to explode from more distance because of more length of main gun.
okay.
But there are a lot of also reactive systems of fire, like American rims and so on. A lot of fire, a lot of explosions, a lot of wounded, and a real war. And tanks also destroyed Russians, and armed vehicles, different kinds of armed vehicles. Real war. Each day we kill. It sounds dangerous, of course, but nowadays Russians are enemies, and in official documents it's about 200, 300 people each day. They lost, and for 10 days it's about 2,000 or 3,000 people. You see, Russia lost in the previous war in Afghanistan 12 or 13,000 people for 10 years. You see, and nowadays they lost twice bigger amount, because it's now about 26,000. And these number do not include the number of combatants from Donbass, those DNR, LNR, and so on and so forth, separatists. Yeah,
this is
and
just including since he's invaded, right?
Yes,
the north. Yeah. 2 days ago there was the celebration of the end of the World War II.
yesterday.
And usually in Ukraine, you celebrate that you won over Nazi Germany with the Red Army, because you were part of the Soviet army, right? So now, 2 days ago, you are basically in this strange situation that for the first time there's a weird way of not being able to celebrate, because you're in a way fighting the new Red Army when you were winning with the Red Army against. How was that? Like, explain.
Look here, in this country, we have it's not just the holiday, it's the day when we remember those who died on that, and the victims of that war. And so it's not a holiday indeed. And in Soviet Union, it was not a holiday until 1965, when the first parade was took a place in Moscow. The first parade, military parade in Moscow, took place only after 20 years after the Second World War. And Ukraine have the tradition, the Russian tradition, because Stalin said in 1945 that Soviet Union must have a different day, not the 8th of May, but for us it was the 9th of May. So we have the Victory Day on the 9th of May. And Ukraine, it was a tradition, of course, we have a lot of veterans of the Second World War. And so we celebrate usually on the 9th of May. But on 2014, when Russians began the war and annex Crimea and Donbass also, those two regions, separate regions, Ukraine became to celebrate on the 8th of May as the whole Europe. And so it's not the problem for us at all. And we feel ourselves as Europeans. And of course, we will celebrate. And this year we also have some official meetings and so on and so forth. And it is the anniversary of very big trouble and very big disaster for our people, because Ukraine lost there about 16 million or 18 million Ukrainians, you see. And so it was really our war, and we were occupied, and you see the situation now somehow returned back. But the enemy nowadays is not from the west, it is from the east.
Yes, and I'd like to share one story that happened to me yesterday. I was in a grocery shop quickly because being always like running and everything, as you know, I'm doing stuff and I don't eat sometimes normally, and I was like in panic choosing what I can choose. And then one woman stick to me and was following me, you know, my always quick movements. And I have Ukrainian stripes always on my jacket, and so then I was surprised, like, why is she following me? And then I hear suddenly in Russian, like, she's standing very close to me and being on telephone and saying the following things like, Mamachka, congratulations to the 9th of May. We haven't fought fascism till the end, but we will. Wish you a peaceful sky.
She was Ukrainian?
No, it was a Russian woman, probably, I guess.
Oh, okay, because she thinks that fascism is happening in...
Right now they are, yeah.
Yes, because
And
Putin's
like,
narrative is that Zelensky and so on, they're all Nazis, right?
Yes, and
yes, you're looking very, very correct, yeah.
And you know, she was like making a point that I hear it. She was not congratulating her mom or whatever, but she made a point just to follow me, and that I hear what she's saying. So, you know, she speaks loud, and she like was really sticking to me. And you know, I was like in this moment, that's where I'm like trembling really, because this is the heart of the problem, you know. The people like these, people that support the regime itself, it's sure is a cancer. But yeah, these are the cells that are supporting this regime. And I mean, yeah, and then she wanted to call other people. I was seeing like she's like dialing and no one is answering, and she's following me and like being so unpleasant, and she's looking at me whether I'm hearing or not, you know. And I was, I am proud of myself because I had one bag of things that I actually collected just spontaneously in one orthopedic shop with some heavy, you know, what you put.
So you collected for Ukraine, right?
Yes, I collected something for Ukraine. Like it was a bit like heavy, like a food that you secure food, and I was imagining how I just like. Yes. Beat her. And yeah, because it's so cynical, you know, like she wants to tell me that I'm a fascism, and she is fighting against the fascism, and it's just crazy. And it's so cynical because this regime is again the Western world. It's a rotten world, you know, and she's living here, and then it's so like
similar
stupid.
problems
Really.
with Erdogan, with the Turkish people also in Germany. There are more Turkish people pro Erdogan.
Where did the regime and the fascism of Ukrainians being Nazis, like where did that start?
Yeah, that's and before
Can I explain? Can I
answer,
explain a little bit?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
About the start of the theme. You see, for us, for this part of Europe, and mainly in Europe, in civilization, yes, we how we nominate fascism. It's the theory of supremacy of one people under another, and it not depends on ideas. It not depends on religion. It depends on those tribal, animalistic fear, because in the world in the 21st century we live, where the ideas of supremacy, it's not simply not polite correct or something like that. Look at America and the problems of racism. It's somehow the problem of fascism also, because fascist ideology, it's racism ideology indeed. And Russians became to redevelop and rebuild the fascism idea in Russia for the last 20 years. And if you visit Russia for those years, you can see the difference in attitude for Russians, for
you spent 10 years there, right, in Russia, in St. Petersburg?
Yeah, I spent 10 years in St. Petersburg. I was a top manager, and I see it inside. And for me, as Ukrainian, it was difficult to see the attitude of Russians for those people who came to St. Petersburg and to Russia, to Moscow from Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, those former Soviet republics. You see, and they have a lot of migrants in Moscow, in general, in Russia. And those people, they are working as low level class, you see, workers in Russia. And
from these Soviet republics.
Yes, and the attitude of Russians always was a little bit, and the last years it was not a little bit, it was a tremendous, a huge amount of supremacy under even Ukrainians. It was such a legend that Russians are older brother and Ukraine is an elder younger sister, you see. And so Russians always communicate as elder brothers, you see. And Ukraine at least said that we don't like to live with such a brother who understands himself as an elder and who can show such a behavior, not polite.